Remember the first time you watched a film by Hayao Miyazaki? What makes his work so unique? What drives him to keep creating film after film? Miyazaki doesn't just tell a story in his films. He takes the audience with him to the worlds he creates. In these series, I step into the lives of people who inspire me. Not to become them, but to understand how they move through the world. What rhythms, what rituals, what ways of seeing keep them so creative. Today, it's Miyazaki's world. When I first started planning a video titled Stepping into Miyazaki's World, my initial instinct was to track down his exact daily routine. I wanted to step directly into his shoes and live precisely like him for a full week. But the moment I began studying his lifestyle, I knew it wasn't for me. Miyazaki is an undeniable genius, but his focus is singular. He's a self-confessed workaholic who can pour his entire existence into a single frame. I've realized I'm just not built that way. I'm someone who thrives on variety. I like to explore different interests, work on multiple projects, and experience a lot of different things in a day rather than spending endless, grueling hours locked into just one thing. Matching his exact schedule would mean putting the rest of my life on pause. I wanted to figure out how to borrow his eyes without losing my own pace. I was looking for something sustainable that I could actually carry forward into my ordinary days. So I changed my approach. I decided to try to live in the imaginary worlds he creates. Instead of copying his routine, I wanted to capture his sense of wonder. I wanted to see if I could bring the essence of Studio Ghibli into my own life. The mindfulness, the appreciation for nature, the slow moments, and the simple beauty of tangible analog hobbies. Here is what happened when I stopped trying to work like Miyazaki and I practiced to see like him. As part of this project, I decided to make a Totoro rock, but first I needed to build a sturdy frame to hold it. I started cutting the wood using my jigsaw, but the cuts kept coming out crooked. Keihan came to the rescue with his saw and helped clamp everything into place. Then Özgür and I assembled it, secured the joints until it was rock solid. Then I could finally sit down with the tofting gun and bring the design to life. There is a moment in every Miyazaki film where nothing happens. Wind moves through grass, rain falls on a roof. A character just waits. And somehow that nothing becomes everything. So when I picked up a tofting gun to make my Totoro rock, I started to understand that Ghibli is really about attention. About treating the most ordinary, quiet corners of life with absolute reverence. Growing up in post-revolutionary Iran during the 80s and 90s, me and other Iranian millennials experienced a unique television landscape. Because Western media was highly restricted on national television, the government heavily imported Japanese anime. These shows were masterfully dubbed into Persian. Some of them were Story of the Alps, Captain Tsubasa, EQ-san, Arabian Nights, Sinbad's Adventures, and many more. For Iranian millennials, these shows weren't just background entertainment. They were collective cultural events in a time before smartphones and satellite TV existed. When it comes to Miyazaki, I had only seen one Miyazaki film before the pandemic hit, Spirited Away. Like many of us during the pandemic, I picked up a hobby or two. I started illustrating and animating, and somewhere in that process, I found myself studying Miyazaki's work. That's when something clicked. I learned that living in Miyazaki's world doesn't mean magic or flying or spirits. It simply requires noticing the quiet things. A shirt drying on a line, savoring your favorite cup of coffee, treating yourself to a local pastry, moving your body, making things with your hands, and pausing to take a deep breath of fresh air. In the animation world, the way Miyazaki creates is almost legendary. He builds his masterpieces without ever writing a script. The narrative is discovered day by day as he lets the characters guide their own fates across the storyboard. There is no master plan, no roadmap. He simply trusts the living image on his desk more than any predetermined plot structure. If a scene misses the mark or loses its soul, there is no compromising. He will confidently throw out months of beautifully finished work and start over from scratch, refusing to force a path just because it's the easier way out. Studio Ghibli characters teach us that true strength isn't about grand gestures. It's about cultivating resilience, empathy, and a deep connection to those around us. Through Chihiro, we learn that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to step forward into the unknown to protect the people we love. Kiki reminds us that burnout and losing our magic is a natural part of growing up, and that rediscovering our purpose requires patience. Gigi the cat teaches us the comfort of loyal companionship, showing that even when we feel like we're changing, having someone who simply stays by our side is invaluable. Calcifer proves that even the most stubborn spirits have a deeply vulnerable heart. Ultimately, these characters remind us that growing up is a messy, beautiful journey, and our inner magic is never truly lost. It's just waiting for us to trust ourselves again. I hope this video reminded you to slow down a little bit today. My friends and my husband surprised me with this Totoro cake for my birthday this month. I absolutely adored it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.